Sup, y'all? So NRS just released, in my opinion, maybe the worst balance patch of all time. So before this last Brazil Pro Comp tourney last weekend, they dropped like a little baby update with Peacemaker, and we thought like, okay, well, maybe they're gonna wait for this Pro Comp event to be over, then drop the real like Big Daddy balance patch. You know, because the next Pro Comp premiere is in almost 3 months. It's like the very end of May, so about 3 months away. And I'm like, okay, they're going to drop a nice, juicy balance patch. And I logged on Twitter this morning, and I saw people talking about nerfs to Johnny, nerfs to Peacemaker, nerfs to Kung Lao Cameo. And I was like, wow, big balance patch dropped. And, you know, one thing that I love about balance patches is whenever characters get buffs. Because when characters get nice buffs, it almost feels like a new character is released. I remember when I used to play Smite, when I used to play MKX, when I used to play Injustice 2, whenever characters would get significant buffs, it would be like, okay, maybe my character got nerfed if I'm playing a top tier that got nerfed, but I'll get to try out this new cool character that got some nice buffs, you know? And NRS, no buffs. So basically, like, I'll run y'all through the patch notes. So Johnny got nerfed, his 1-1 got nerfed, it's no longer +3, it's +1. So he can't really get 4-3 after, he can only really get down 1. Well, down 1, yeah. And then, what was the other Johnny nerf? His down 1 is now 7 frames, says 6 frames. So, you know, the 6 frame down 1, it was one of the keys to him being, like, top tier. Like, very top tier, because, he's like a rushdown character, right? But once he got in, he had that 6 frame down 1 to kind of bully. Now that's gone. Now, Peacemaker, his regular gun does not combo into ambushes anymore. I'll show you that real quick. So, if you do something like... Wait, let me take him off a block. Wait, it does? No, it does. Yeah, so it doesn't combo anymore. And this makes sense, because this is, like, universal for the cast, right? The cast... Like, I tried... Like, someone was like, if Peacemaker can do that, why don't Baraka players do that? I remember I tried it. It doesn't work. Yeah, like... Projectiles don't combo, regular projectiles don't combo with ambushes like that. So that's one thing in the patch I agree with. And it's not even that I necessarily agree with these other nerfs, which I'll show y'all real quick. The other nerfs are, Raiden and Kenshi got a slight chip nerf. You know, whatever. Raiden Kano's still going to be the best team in the game. Stuff like that. Kenshi's still going to have the dumbest offense in the game. But anyways, so, these are the two other big nerfs. So if you look at Striker, whenever I do the grenades... Look how long the cooldown is now. It's about as long as Goro's. So Striker got nerfed big time. Like, I can't really see an argument anymore for him being a top tier cameo. Striker, he doesn't have a lot of the qualities of like a Goro up punch or Striker or like Kano knives. Like Kano knives go full screen. You have like a really good time to combo, get a jump and stuff like that. Striker bombs, like, they're not really like that. But what was cool about Striker bombs, they recovered so quick. So you could kind of spam them. Which made him top tier, made him kind of OP. And they took that away. So now he's probably not a top tier cameo. Now he's probably like, you know, under top tier, stuff like that. And Kung Lao cameo. So whenever you do hat, you get really fast cooldown, right? Because it's a projectile that's shared amongst the cast for the most part. Like Serena, when you do her forward cameo, it counts as a projectile. So you get really fast cooldown. Because they don't want you to be sitting there waiting for a long time when you just did a regular projectile. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty fair, right? But before, when you would hold Kung Lao cameo, you would still get that quick projectile cooldown. Now it acts as like you did a different move, and the cooldown's kind of slow, as you could see. To be honest, I'm gonna be honest, like I don't know if that's that bad of a nerf. I don't know if that's that bad of a nerf. People are like malding on Twitter about it. But the cooldown still doesn't seem that bad. Like, does it seem that bad to y'all? I don't know. Maybe it's kind of bad. Yeah, but that's another nerf. It's a significant nerf. Like, characters like Melina and Sindel, they're going to have to be careful trying to do, like, setup in the setup. You know what I mean? Like, they're only really going to get, like, one setup, and then if they try to loop that, the setup's not really going to be there again. But those teams are still going to be strong, you know what I mean? And I feel like Striker teams will still be good. It's just like, let's be real. The striker teams all dropped a bit. The striker nerf was the biggest nerf of the patch, for sure. Besides, arguably, Johnny down 1. But the striker nerf, the biggest of the patch, I would say. Peacemaker still gets a million combo routes. So yeah, striker nerf, biggest of the patch. Then I would say Johnny. Then I would say Peacemaker. Then I would say Kung Lao. And then Raiden and Kenshi, baby-ass nerfs. But anyways, I feel like this is the lamest patch. Not because of nerfs, but because no other buffs. No buffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't you give, like, big buffs to, like, characters in cameos so there's something new and shiny for us to play? You know, like, that excitement whenever a DLC character drops, like, whenever Peacemaker drops or Quan or whoever, that excitement? I remember when balance patches used to be like that, or even, like, more so, like, yeah, like, these top tiers would get nerfed, but there would also be, like, 7 or 8 characters who got buffed, you know what I mean? And, like, just how, like, 3 or 4 of these characters got significant nerfs, 3 or 4 of those characters would get significant buffs. So it would be like, wow, I'm almost using, like, a new character, almost. Even though it's, like, not really. It's almost like, yeah, it's, like, almost like a new, fresh character, new potential, new possible viability. And NRS, like, I feel like even since, like, MK11 hasn't really been doing that, you know what I mean? There were times in MK11, like, obviously, like, Cabal got pretty buffed over the course of the game, especially with customs, stuff like that, but, like, man, just overall, like, it feels like they're so nerf focused, because during MKX and, like, Injustice 2, people would complain about the frequency of balance patches and how they would do them right before big tournaments, but I feel like NRS kind of took that as, like, okay, we can just do these baby patches for the rest of the time then, if they complain about our balance patches. But it's like, we want balance patches. We want big, juicy balance patches. We want to see top-tier broken Natara. We want to see low-tier struggling Johnny. We want to see that. We want to see low-tier struggling Raiden. We want to see top-tier broken Lee Mei. We want to see stuff like that. That would be cool. That would really freshen the game up. It would be like a whole new game. But, like, they're just... And maybe y'all don't want to see Natara and Lee Mei up top, but insert whatever character that's, like, mid or low that y'all like. You know what I mean? Like, remember, Firestorm in Justice 2. A lot of people saw him as mid-tier. He was a little underrated, but he was pretty mid among, like, the release in Justice 2 cast. They made him broke as hell. And for Firestorm players, that was really cool. It was, like, a fresh new character. New character for people to complain about, do dumb stuff with, stuff like that. And, like, they're not doing that on this game. Like, let's go to, like, the character select screen. Also, like, they're selective with their nerfs. I would argue, and anyone else, I feel like, would argue, that out of these characters that got nerfed, Ashura is just as strong as any of them, bro. Ashura is just as strong as any of them. And also, like, the Kano, or the Raiden and Kenshi nerfs were, like, nothing. They were, like, nothing. But anyways, also, another character that I need to touch on, Chameleon. Chameleon is inarguably just as strong as Kung Lao and Stryker were, and Janet Cage is looking like she might be the best cameo in the whole game. So it's like, why would you nerf Stryker and Lao, water them down, when Chameleon is still just as good, when Janet is still going to be, it's looking like she's going to be crazy, but you don't buff Scorpion cameo, you don't buff Cyrax cameo, you don't buff, like, Frost cameo. Like, Frost cameo is, like, so pedestrian, you know what I mean? Like, and some of these other cameos, they have, like, good teams, good pairings, stuff like that. But what NRS should do is, like, think of ways to, like, rework them to where they're kind of, like, they fit on the whole cast. Like, I feel like, someone like Tremor, he fits so well on certain characters, but on others, he's just really not worth it. On Darius fits well on very certain specific characters, but on others, he's not really worth it. Why don't they, instead of focusing on watering down Kung Lao and Stryker, or maybe even also water down Kung Lao and Stryker, but also, like, give a little nerf to Chameleon, because, like, she's now not in line with the other cameos in the game. You know what I mean? She's broke. You know what I mean? But, like, figure out a way that Tremor can be an interesting pick for more than just Reiko. Figure out a way for Darius to be more of an interesting pick for more than just, like, Shao and maybe Sub and a couple others, Reiko, you know what I mean? And then, like, Cyrax, like, make it, dude, the way they nerf Cyrax, they literally made it so you pick between one forward spin or you use the rest of his moveset. They took him, he was very OP, he was very busted, but, like, dude, like, they made his moveset boring. They made his moveset boring. Having to pick between, like, the cheat pressure move one time or using everything else is a boring design. You know what I'm saying? And now, guess what? Kung Lao players are going to be mostly focused on doing, like, low hat, low hat, low hat, low hat, instead of, like, holding the low hat and doing cool setups. You know what I'm saying? They could have nerfed it in maybe a different way. Maybe made low hat a mid if you hold it. So then they still get those cool setups. They're just not super dumb mix-ups. You know what I mean? Like, they could have done a smarter nerf like that. It just feels so lazy. I feel like Motaro is one buff away from being like a top-tier cameo that's good for a lot of characters, you know? Sector, one buff away, I would say. Sonya, one buff away. Shujinko is a fucking weird mess. Like, no one picks him outside of, like, in theory, in their dreams. You know what I'm saying? And then Sub-Zero cameo is actually pretty good. I actually feel like Sub-Zero cameo kind of underrated and pretty good. Serena cameo, probably fine. They could maybe do something interesting with, like, her portal, maybe, to make people want to use it more. So, yeah, I would say Sub-Zero cameo, fine. Kano cameo, fine. Serena cameo, maybe they could do something interesting with their portal to make it more of an option. Because right now, people, let's be real, Serena players, they're just projectile Andes for the most part. Forward cameo, back cameo, that's about it. They might throw Demon Flip on block. They might YOLO Demon Flip on Wake Up. You know what I'm saying? Cyrax, fucking... Man, it's just like, this patch sucks, dude. Like, all this patch did was make Striker way worse. Striker's gonna be way more boring now to play. Because, like, when you play Striker, you're just... Every once in a while, you're gonna use... Every once in a while, you're gonna use grenades. And you know what? Now... Oh my god, this is something I didn't even think about. Now that we're gonna have to wait longer to use grenades, people are gonna use the batons even less. People are gonna use the resend even less. Because those moves were already not that good. So the fact that they didn't make those moves better, now I'm not gonna give that precious real estate to those moves when bombs take even longer to recharge. Why would I give the precious Striker real estate to those trash moves? So now he's an even more boring cameo than he was before. And then same thing with Kung Lao. Like, why would you try to do cool stuff with teleport like on Knockdown? Why would you use spin and combos, stuff like that, when you gotta wait even longer on, like, the low hat charge and stuff like that? Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know if that's, like, the best point. With Striker, that point made more sense. With this one, it's like, you need full bar to use it so yeah, my point still makes sense. Sorry, I'm just not well caffeinated right now. With Goro, they could have made a couple changes. Dude, Goro is literally just up punch Andy. That's it. He's just up punch Andy. He's like, he does some broke stuff with that. That's about it. They could have reworked him a little bit to make him more interesting. Like, I don't know. Jax, I feel like is fine. He's just, like, underused. Low-key. But yeah, like, I feel like this patch sucked, man. Let's look at the roster. So you have, why not make Reptile as good as Raiden? Why not make Reptile as good as Raiden and Johnny were? You know what I mean? Why not do that with, like, fucking Havoc? Why not rework Havoc, make him as strong as they were? Why not, you know what I mean? Like, why not really shake things up, flip things upside down? Like, that's what is cool to me about balance patches. You find a point where there's a long time before the next Premier Tournament, and then you really shake things up. Because, like, for someone like me, I mained Baraka Striker. I enjoyed Baraka Striker, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if they make Baraka Striker the worst team in the whole game. But it would be awesome if also they made Reptile, like, really, like, they buffed the shit out of Reptile, or they buffed the shit out of, like, someone else, and then I could, like, I'd be like, oh, it's almost like a new character I could try, like a new fun character. Whereas, like, the way they're patching it now, it's just, like, despair. I feel like it's just despair. It's like, I'm longing for something more. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I do feel like, this game is not, like, that unbalanced. Maybe they're going for balance, but I'm kind of confused as well, because, like, you have, like, Ashra, who, in my opinion, is just as good as, like, Johnny was. And then you have Raiden, who, like, a lot of people had as the best team in the game, Raiden Kano, and that team is essentially untouched. He loses a little bit of chip, but everything's the same, essentially. You know what I mean? A little bit of chip is nothing. A little bit of chip is nothing. A big nerf is what's happened to Striker. Because now you're going to effectively, like, not get as many turns. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I'm really not a fan of this patch, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this patch in the comments down below. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure y'all will be like, oh, boo-hoo, Striker got nerfed, that's why you're mad. It's not why I'm mad, man. Like, literally, I'll be fine. I'll beat the same people I was beating before. Like, you know what I mean? Lose to the same people I was losing to before. Hopefully, maybe get better and start beating them. I don't know. We'll see. But, like, it's just annoying because I feel like there's nothing exciting about this patch. If you're, like, a complainer, then I'm sure you'll be excited for a couple days. But if you go on Kombat League and you lose to a Baraka Kano, I'm sure it's just going to be complaints again. Like how people shifted their complaints from Baraka Cyrax to Baraka Striker, even though it was a lesser team, but still good. I'm telling you right now, Baraka Kano is still good. I'm telling you right now. So, you know, people who like shift their complaints, they're just going to do that again. So it's going to be almost like a nothing patch at the end of the day. So, much love to everyone. And, yeah, hoping for better things for this game, but this patch was a, step in the wrong direction. It wasn't like game ruining in my eyes, but, you know, it is what it is, boys.